Welcome to the Picture Podcast.
Welcome to the Picture Podcast, where the conversation is free flow, everything is on the house, and all we ask for in return is for you not to give us 1-star reviews. I'm Cody.
And I'm Ian.
And today we're going to be talking about mistakes that we've made in the past. Hopefully most of them are just going to be funny, but we might have some more serious ones as well, depending on how it goes.
Okay, so before we get into the meat of things, let's go into our culture corner, which for this week we'll be talking about movies. So Cody, what's your recommendation of the week?
Mine is a movie called The Laundromat. I saw it on Netflix this past Christmas. I watched it with my family. Oh no, actually the first time I watched it was when I was visiting our friend Rachel in Philadelphia, and we were looking through movies to watch together.
You saw it with her?
Yeah. We started watching it, and then she was going to a party, and I didn't want to go. Ooh. So I was just like, I'll continue watching this. And then she left, and she asked me how it was. But it was really, really good. I don't want to give away too much of what it's about, but they have a ton of big, like, celebrity actors and actresses, and then it's like kind of all these different stories of like different people uncovering this kind of like big huge plot, and it's actually like based on real events too, which is really interesting.
Is it like a murder mystery?
Kind of, but without like any like murder necessarily.
It's just like a mystery
thriller. Kind of mystery. Yeah, not thriller, more like
just mystery.
Yeah, just mystery.
Very nice.
But it's good.
Nice.
It's actually about like real things that happened a couple years ago too, so it's quite interesting.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So for my recommendation of the week, it'll be Spotlight. We're recording this episode maybe like a few weeks in advance. So this is probably like a few weeks back by the time you're listening to this, but essentially this is my second time watching the movie. I'm trying to watch it with my parents as well, and I think it's just a good movie overall. It's kind of controversial in terms of the topics it covers, because it's about exposing the Catholic Church and like the abuses that were occurred in like Boston.
Yeah.
And how that ties into the bigger picture of a lot of the conflicts within like the church system, the Catholic Church system, and all that stuff, which I think is very interesting. It's worth a watch no matter what. And the funny thing is, because I watched this with my parents, I have this like one gripe. It's not even a gripe, or going back to our previous episode, a pet peeve of mine. Yeah. Where essentially like my parents are like kids. It's hard to like gather them together and like sit down and focus on watching a movie. Like my mom loves like kind of going on her phone to begin with. I'm just like, Mom, I don't want to have to explain this to you afterwards. So like, can you please pay attention? Like, yeah. And then look over, she's like texting, I'm like, Mom, please, Mom, please. And then while I'm doing that, like halfway through the movie, like I hear snoring on the far end of the sofa.
No. Yeah.
And I look over, my dad's like head is rocked all the way back, and he's just passed out. And I'm just like, oh my God, this happens every single time. Yeah. But still, love watching movies with my parents, nonetheless. So, just to glance over that.
So I guess we'll just talk about quickly like weekly catch-ups and stuff and things that happened to us this past week. Do you want to go first?
Okay, so there was a big thing that happened to me this week. So essentially, I sprained my ankle pretty badly from a unknown incident. We're not going to delve into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the first time I sprained my ankle in years, and I didn't realize how much of an impact it was going to have on me. Like I was staying at home for like 3 days in a row. It felt like I was back to quarantine, and that was kind of depressing. Like the weather outside was bad.
Yeah.
And I was just like stuck at home doing nothing, just like lying in bed trying to like elevate my foot.
Yeah.
Just like trying to heal it as quickly as possible. But yeah, that was quite a downer period of my week, I guess.
Yeah. Did you leave your house at all during that like 3-day period?
No.
Did you leave?
I was just at home.
Oh, okay. Could you walk around home at all?
Yeah, I could. It wasn't like that bad. Like one thing that I love doing, which I gotta stop doing, is like going online and searching like what's going on with me.
Yeah.
Like that WebMD rabbit hole that we always go under. And I was like checking to see if my ankle's broken. Like I didn't want to see the doctor in case it was gonna be worse than it is.
Yeah.
So I would search online, and that just like fucks it up even more, because like I get more anxious. So hopefully it's just a sprain. It probably is just a sprain, since it's healing up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
what were some of like the worst search results that came up when you put in like your symptoms?
It's so stupid. It's like bad bruising. It's like, oh, your ankle's broken. So I'm like, fuck, is my ankle actually broken at this point? But whatever.
You
It is
said
what it is.
your parents were scared about like potential like blood clotting or like the blood getting messed up or something.
They,
in your
they love striking fear into my soul.
Uh-huh.
Like they would tell me like, oh, you got to get it checked because if like the blood clots and it dies, then you have to amputate your foot. And I'm just like, I only just sprained my ankle, and now we're talking about amputating my foot, and I'm just like, it's a craziness, it's a madness.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that makes me so much more like hypersensitive to if I ever like get a twinge of pain or something in it too.
What about you, Cody?
But yeah, my moment was a couple days ago. For those who know me, I really, really like drinking coffee, and I make it essentially with like beans that I buy at a store, and then we have a coffee grinder here. But our coffee grinder one day like stopped working, and I was convinced that it just like was completely broken. And so I couldn't make my coffee, and I'm just used to having coffee like so much, so whenever I feel like slightly tired or slightly lazy, I'll just like make myself some iced coffee.
Can't talk to you without your coffee.
Yeah, no, exactly. Really. But it was broken, and so this whole day I like couldn't have my coffee, and then so I went out and I think I met up with like Ian and Michael and Rachel for like a hike or something, and then came back, and it's such a bad habit, but I like having like a little like
a post-hike coffee.
No, like a kind of like later evening coffee.
What?
Yeah.
Can you sleep afterwards?
Yeah, I cut myself off at 10:30.
Oh, okay.
But like 8 p.m. I love one.
This is such a basic like first world problem. I just can't have my coffee right now.
But it was broken, and so I like just told my mom, and she was like, "Uh-oh, like too bad. You're gonna have to start drinking tea." 'Cause she doesn't like me drinking coffee anyways, and so I was just like quite upset about it, and then I just found that I was like perseverating on it for so long and just like kind of pacing back and forth in the kitchen, like trying to fix my coffee grinder. And it was just
like
this
a crackhead.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, and it was just this weird moment of like self-awareness where I'm like, okay, this is an actual like addiction / problem that I have if my like mood is so disrupted by my coffee grinder being broken, and I'm just like mindlessly pacing back and forth sad in the kitchen.
I did have a bit of a mini coffee addiction probably in high school.
Oh really?
Yeah, back when we used to go to NTK, which is like a tuition center.
Oh yeah.
That's the place where we normally go to study after school.
Yeah.
And then they just have this like free coffee machine.
Yeah.
That you can just like get unlimited coffees. I'll get like at least 2 shots a night. Mm-hmm. And then when I don't drink coffee, I feel like restless. I feel kind of shaky.
Yeah.
And it was kind of bad.
Yeah.
The reliance towards coffee at such a young age is not very healthy.
Yeah, I remember those. They're like those Nespresso machines at MTK. But yeah, it totally is like, you know what everyone says, like, oh, caffeine is just like a legal drug and like blah, 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 blah.
It actually
totally is. It really is.
I mean, no one was lying to you.
Yeah. It's just like more socially acceptable.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing I was going to say about you talking about watching movies with your parents is I have the same exact thing. My mom loves like doing a bit of work while she's watching a movie, especially if it's like a movie I wanted to watch with them.
Yes. Exactly.
And they always ask me, they're like, Cody, you
what
like,
movies do you want to watch?
Exactly.
I want to see what you want to watch. Like, show me something new. I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah, and so sometimes when my mom gets like a text, I just pause the movie and I get so passionate.
Yes. I do that. I pause it. I'm like, are you done yet? Are you done?
Yeah.
Should I wait until you're done? She's like, that should give me 10 minutes. And I'll just like head into my room. I'd be like, just call me when you're done. Call me when you're done, I guess.
Or sometimes she's like, oh, I want to make popcorn, or like, oh, I want to get like something from the kitchen.
Oh my god, my mom does that too. She's like, I need a snack right now. I'm like, Mom, it's like the crux of the movie right now.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, I'll pause it. And she's like, no, it's okay. I can hear it from the kitchen. And I'm like, no, we're pausing it. I'm like, we're pausing it.
Oh my god, my mom does the same thing.
Just happened the other night.
Love you, Mom.
Anyways.
Love you, Mom.
Moving into kind of like the meat of our podcast episode, we thought it'd be fun for us to talk about some mistakes that we kind of reflect on about in our own lives. So do you want to go first?
I'll just start with some like, they're not mistakes, but I guess embarrassing moments back in my like younger days.
Yeah.
The first one was like, I was just walking around. There was like this massive like patio outside my place.
Yeah.
This communal patio. And then it was kind of dark, and then I was like running around playing as we were about to go home.
Yeah.
And then I see this man standing by like a light.
Yeah.
Who's like similar stature to my dad.
Yeah.
Like he looks somewhat like my dad, I guess, from the back. Mm-hmm. And then as I was about to head like home, this guy was walking up the stairs, and I just grab his hand. And he just keeps walking with me. I'm just like, what the f-? Like, okay, I didn't say what the f***, because I thought it was my dad to begin with. And I look up. I'm just like, this is not my dad. And I look probably like 10 meters away. My whole family's just looking at me holding this random guy's hand. And I just like run back over. I'm just like,
were there like any exchange of words between you and that person at all?
I don't think so. I think we're just like so much in shock. It's like, what? I would be in shock if a kid just suddenly came up and held my hand.
Of course. I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't want to like pull my hand away or something because it seems so mean. Oh, that's funny. So I can't think of any from my like childhood specifically. But this is one of our ones from junior year of high school. We would all hang out in like this one classroom over break periods and lunch periods together, and there are actually 2 instances in which our friend Gareth was just kind of like fed up with his hair, and he just like really wanted to trim and didn't want to wait till like after school or something. So the first one was when we were hanging out in break period, and he got it into his head that he really wanted like racing stripes on the side of his...
So it's just essentially 2 lines on the side of his head.
And so he was like, Ian, do you think you can like do me some racing stripes? And Ian's like, yeah, sure.
No, I brushed it off really quickly. I was like, no, Gareth, it's a bad idea. I was like, Ian, no, it's fine. It's so easy. So he grabs like a pair of like... like workshop scissors. And just chucks them over to me.
Like the type of ones you would have in your pencil case, like as a student.
And he decides to ask me to fucking cut those stripes into his head.
Yeah.
It looked horrendous.
It was so bad. They were kind of like curved down too.
They were kind of intersecting towards the end. It didn't look great.
Yeah.
But he liked them. He actually liked them. But he didn't see the back, which you want to explain.
So along with the racing stripes, he also asked us to clean up the back of his head, like towards towards like his neck and stuff. Yeah. And so we just took those same like pencil case scissors and started going to work on it. And then we just started cutting like kind of all of his hair. And then,
it's not that bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was a fine trim.
It definitely wasn't fine. But then I remember just the moment of like we pulled back and everything, and then he looked up at us and his hair was just like really bad after it.
But still, it wasn't as bad as the next moment.
Yeah.
Which was...
So this is a couple months later. It was during one of our like camping expeditions that we had to do as part of this leadership class at school. And Gareth chose then for another time where he was just like fed up with his hair, wanted to like get a quick trim. So we didn't even have like stationary or like pencil kit scissors. So Ian had like a Swiss Army knife type like multi-tool thing, and I had one as well. And so we were like, okay, like the knife seems quite sharp. It can probably just like cut through your hair. And Gareth was like, yeah, I just really want it cut now. And we're like, you sure? He's like, yeah. And so we have him lie inside of a tent so that his head is the last part of his body that's poking out over the grass. And then we just turn our like headlamps on. And we start pulling it out and then
sawing his
hair.
It was not a cut. It was not a cut.
And then we couldn't really get it with the blade because it was too dull. So then Ian's multi-tool had another more like jagged serrated one. And so we started doing that.
Cutting it like it's steak. Okay, essentially
it was so bad.
His head was split in half. Okay, whoa, that sounds really bad. No, it was, we separated the parts.
Yeah.
I did like the left side, and then Lucas and then our whole other group just did the right side. Obviously, being the good Samaritan that I am, I gave Gareth like a relatively like clean trim. Like I didn't cut off that much. I just wanted to make it like slightly shorter. So I put a lot of effort into it. I was like trimming the ends.
Yeah.
And then I look over. And then, I'm not even joking when like Gareth has pretty thick hair. He had a pretty thick head of hair. I trimmed it a bit on the left side. I look over to the right. Like his right side was almost bald. Lucas has absolutely he's practically given up Gareth a buzz cut with like the dullest like Swiss Army knife. Like Gareth was like cringing in agony.
Yeah.
Because like while we're cutting it, it's just like pulling on his hair.
It was so painful.
And we're just like, Gareth, shut up. It's not that bad. Do you want this haircut? And we're like, Gareth, do you want this or not? And And then
Like,
in
yeah,
the end,
dude.
he says yes.
Yeah.
And then we decided
And we
to.
kept doing it. But I remember he had kind of an island of hair where they receded his hairline, but then they left like one tuft still there. So it was like one tuft and then nothing and then the rest of his hair. And then in the morning, the teachers who were like chaperoning us were like, Gareth, what did you do? But it's like, they couldn't necessarily get us in trouble because we just like cut his hair and he wanted it and everything, but it was just like really, really bad. And then I remember his mom picked him up that evening after our expedition and made him go get a haircut and everything. It was so bad.
I don't think it could be saved at that point.
Yeah.
Like falling off that one AYP trip, I remember another mistake was me and Gareth had this yelling spat at night.
Oh my god!
So essentially,
that was the exact same trip.
It was the exact same trip. Yeah, we're just a bunch of troublemakers. But essentially, we were about to go to sleep. Like there was a curfew for everyone to sleep, probably before 11. But when we still were like pretty like high on energy. We were just like wanting to play around.
Yeah.
And then we just hear like Gareth, like my tent and Gareth's tent were like parallel to each other.
Yeah.
And then I hear Gareth just like whisper like twat. And then I thought it was a great idea. So we played the twat game.
Yeah.
Where we just get louder and louder each time.
Yeah.
So then we went super loud to the point where Gareth was like screaming twat at like the top of his lungs. And then right after, we hear just like a sudden voice, which was Mr. Gardner. And he was like, what do you say, Gareth? And then you instantly hear like fake snoring sounds, which clearly came from Philson. And then... Because Philson was clearly trying to avoid any trouble. And then Gareth was like, sorry, Mr. Gardner. And then that was it. And then, that was
It was so bad. Because it was Ian completely egging Gareth on, too. He was like...
I was baiting him at
Gareth,
that point.
say it louder. And Gareth was like, twat. And then he just got to like the top of his lungs, and then you expect to hear Ian, but instead of Ian, you hear our really pissed off teacher being like, Gareth, say it one more time.
Oh, Gareth, say it one more time.
Say it one more time, I dare you, Gareth. And then Gareth's like,
sorry, Mr. Gardner.
Sorry. And then it was just completely silent after it. And I remember turning over to Lucas in my tent, because we were sharing tents, and just like cringing so much, and then pretending that we were asleep as well. It's not even like he could see into the tents or anything.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't even a back and forth. It was just me egging Gareth.
Yeah. You're like, Gareth, say it louder. Say it louder. You won't say it louder, Gareth. You won't say it louder.
Oh my god.
But
there's so many like funny moments throughout like our AYP career. But
for sure,
we'll definitely wait for Gareth to be on the podcast for us to share that.
For sure. We love you, Gareth.
I love you, Gareth. I guess I have another mistake, which was when I was young, I was a very like energetic kid.
Yeah.
So my parents were always like preoccupied. My sister was preoccupied with school. And then I would always try to like get their attention or like ask them to do something with me, even though like when they're busy. So then one time I had like this smart idea of like putting on these slippers. Like my floor was like wooden, so it was super slippery. And I was like sliding around. I was like, oh wow, this is like the same sensation I get when I'm skiing.
Yeah.
So I would like shout my dad's name. I'm like, Dad, check this out. I would like slide into the goddamn study room.
Yeah.
They still weren't paying attention to me at this point. But I slid so far that I kind of tumbled over and hit my head on one of like the legs of a rolling chair.
Oh no.
And then my dad then paid attention to me and was like, oh, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then like the top of my head was like slightly bleeding and stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah, I had to go to the hospital and like get like a proper bandage from my head.
Oh, okay. So were they mad or mostly just confused?
Probably confused and a bit disappointed. Like I do this stuff all the time at home. Like whenever I'm not like, I guess, taken after, I just like go to my own devices and I'm just
of course,
doing some stupid ass shit. Like I remember essentially I was about to have dinner and I was making this bookmark before dinner, but then my helpers were like, Ian, come on, it's time for dinner.
Yeah.
And I started getting this like rushed feeling, so I had to like quickly finish making my bookmark, grab the stapler.
Oh no.
And then just as I was about to staple the bookmark, my thumb happened to be in the way.
Yeah.
And I stapled my thumb to the bookmark.
Oh my gosh.
It didn't actually hurt. I was
Really?
just like probably in so much shock as to the fact that I stapled my finger. Had to go to the same hospital.
Oh my god.
And then get that taken care of. But
did you go to the hospital with it in your thumb?
Yeah.
Really?
How the like,
yeah, I guess I don't know.
My helper's not gonna yank it off
Oh, that's so
with a
grim.
staple remover.
That's so grim.
Yeah, I was a troublesome, clumsy kid. Okay, back to you, Cody.
For me, This is also literally the same year as the Gareth haircut one.
We've done so much in those few years.
Our junior and senior year of high school were just like a complete madness. But this was every school year we had like 1 week of the year where we would all go on like different trips throughout mostly Asia or like sometimes in Hong Kong. But me and most of our friend group without Ian went to this one city in China called Xi'an. And it was really, really fun. It was a really good experience. And we were really good friends, quite close friends with the teacher who was like chaperoning the trip. And she was really friendly with us. But then there was one day where we were going to the last hotel. It was like 5 days into the 7-day trip. And she had like been really stressed out. And we had this like big hiking expedition earlier in the day. And Michael had kind of like annoyed her with something. And then we check into this hotel, it's evening, like we're all hungry for dinner. And then there's one of those, you know, like those pianos that self-play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the keys are going up and down. It's playing like some like Beethoven or Bach or like Tchaikovsky or something. And then we're like, Michael, it would be so funny while we're waiting around to get checked in if you just like go behind the like display stage and just like sit on it and act like you're playing the piano, because it's not like you can just go to the piano and they don't want you to. It's on this like kind of stage area. And so he's like, okay, yeah, sure. So then he like goes around the back and goes to this and then just sits there and is like pretending to play this piano. And then the teacher turns and she's like, where's Michael? And then we like point and he's on the stage playing this piano. And for some reason, like, it didn't seem like that big of a deal, but I think that was just like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And she got like,
I've never heard that.
Oh, really?
Saying. Yeah.
I say it so much. But she got
bollocks.
like, sorry?
The dog's bollocks.
The dog's bollocks. Rachel said this funny phrase to us the other day. But for some reason, she like, that just like flipped a switch for her and she took Michael aside and just like reprimanded him, I remember. And I remember just feeling so bad that like, we were the complete instigators of it too, and we were the ones who told Michael to go do it so that we could take a video of him. And I think this ties back to like what Ian talks about sometimes with like me actually not doing that many embarrassing things, but like instigating stuff and telling people to do stuff and then feeling bad. Like
sociopathic?
No. That's too strong. But just like feeling bad and guilty, but also like kind of laughing when like the other people get in trouble for things that I've told them to do.
I guess reflecting upon it now, it's like probably bad, like from like onlookers.
Oh, of course.
I see like a bunch of kids like f***ing around in a hotel.
Like if I was the teacher, I'd completely understand. Like they've had a tiring day.
In the moment, it's like it's just a nice bit of fun. It's harmless as well.
Well, it's stressful because you're like looking after 25 kids, right, in a foreign country, and then you look around after checking into a hotel, and like one of the kids is just up on like this stage where you're not meant to go, like messing with stuff.
To us, raising kids overseas is such a bad idea.
I know, so stressful.
Like I remember. Like when we went to China for our AYP Gold trip.
Yeah.
Like in the morning, like Gareth, Michael, and I would just like head down for breakfast. Like everyone's all prepped.
Yeah.
We'd be going down in our bathrobes.
Yeah.
And like the hotel slippers.
Right.
And then there's like a music player. We'd connect our phone to the aux and play Wet Dreams during the morning.
By J. Cole.
Wet Dreams by J. Cole as we're eating breakfast.
Right,
and we're like, guys, this is so funny. Everyone's like just like groggy and grumpy in the morning. Just like a bunch of like idiots.
If we were teachers, we would hate ourselves.
Yeah, I would.
You know? Shout out to our teachers.
But I'd be like, I can relate.
Maybe. I feel like I would just get mad at them.
Tying to Cody's story, I guess one of my mistakes was not going on this trip with them to Xi'an.
Yeah, explain. We need some context behind this.
So essentially, I went to Indonesia for my trip because the trip was for this eco-awareness cause that I was very passionate about.
Oh, really?
So that's why I really wanted to go there and look after animals and see what's going on there. So yeah, that's about it.
That's the only reason?
Okay, honestly, it was because of a girl that we shall not name. I was thinking a bit with my Willie, and I was.
Oh my god!
Hey, Willie is not that like obscene.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't want to go to that extent and say a different word, but yeah, I wasn't thinking straight with my head. I mean, it was a like good trip.
Yeah.
But if I was in the mix in Xi'an, oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Hearing all the stories that like all the shit they've done in Xi'an just makes me kind of jealous that I wasn't there as well. It just sounds like so much fun.
Whenever we're in a big group context and talking about like our Xi'an trip with like me, Michael, and Gareth, and we always like have these funny stories, and then Rachel or like Real or one of our other friends will be like, wait, and so like Ian, you were on that trip, right? And then it always gets a bit quiet, and we're like, no, he wasn't. And then we always
like, I get it, guys. I get it.
Ian always has to like pre-roast him himself like a tiny bit. But yeah. I guess another one, all of this was the exact same year. It was like such a badly behaved year for us.
I love how these are mistakes, but we don't regret them.
Yeah.
I mean, they still are mistakes nonetheless.
Yeah.
They weren't great.
So Ian and I and a couple of our other friends took this one class in our junior and senior year of high school called sports science. And so it was just kind of like anatomy. Yeah, I guess the American equivalent would be like anatomy or like exercise science or something like that. But there's like a couple different teachers teaching it, depending on which topic it was. And our teachers for all of our junior year were really, really nice, especially to like me and Ian. And to Gareth and a couple of our other friends in the class, like, were not very nice at all. And I don't know, that's kind of like a trend with a lot of our classes in high school. Like, the teachers really liked us for some reason.
For sports sciences, because we were doing really well.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that for chemistry.
Yeah. For chemistry, we weren't doing well. We were doing so poorly. But our teachers still loved us. Yeah. But we would always distract Gareth and then and like our other friend, and they'd be like, guys, stop getting distracted by Ian and Cody. Like, stop letting yourselves get it. Like, they would get in trouble for them getting distracted by us. And they'd be like, but Ian and Cody keep annoying us. Like, they keep making us not being able to focus on everything. And they're like, well, they're doing fine. So, like, but I remember at the beginning of our senior year, we got a new teacher. And it was very clear from like day one, we're not going to name his name, but that he was not going to put up with like any of our bullshit in class. And so there was this one day that I was just with Gareth, and we were going on Google Maps and looking at all these like really
looking
nice
for the house.
Yeah. We were looking at all these really nice homes on Google Maps and stuff, and being like, oh, I've been there. I've been on the street past there. Like, oh, I heard some rumor about this house. And we were obviously being really loud because it was meant to be like a quiet work session too. And then we see the teacher just come over and stand right next to us, and then we like get back to our computers and pretend like we're doing work, and then like, what are you doing? And then Gareth and I are like, oh no, we're just like looking at the Word document. And it's like, obviously not, right? But he's like, no, go to the other tab. And then we're like, oh no, it's just like something else, like it's not that funny or anything. And they're like, no, I want to see what it is. Like, it's obviously like really funny, right? So like, let's go see it. Let's have a laugh about it.
The thing that teachers do, like, why do they do that? It's just like goes so far to just prove a point.
I know, and of course the whole class is looking at us now, right? So Gareth like sheepishly swipes his computer and goes to like the other space where we're on Google Earth.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, now can you explain like why this is funny? And we're like, no, I'm sorry. Like, we're just like, we're just messing around. We should have been focusing. Sorry. And he's like, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And then just like silently walked
and then he lectures you guys. Yeah. And he was like, guys, this is a battery. We got to get it 100% full. Yeah. We're only 10% full right now. Do you guys want to reach the end? And then he'd give us this like really shit like lecture. Yeah. His analogies were really horrendous.
Yeah, that was at the beginning of every class we had with him. He would like update how much percentage the battery had and stuff. But it was just this realization where like this one teacher is not going to stand for like the bullshit that the other teachers throughout the past year would like put up with.
The thing is, like, he gives us so much stick, but then he's a pretty shit teacher himself. Like, I learned all from him. Like,
yeah. It was mostly just our textbook and like our own study sessions.
For the other teachers for sports science we had. Oh my god. I remember just like one day I had the great idea to bring like my sleeping bag in.
Oh, I have photos
and then I'd just like go into sports science, put on my sleeping bag and just kind of like lie there.
Yeah.
And she was like perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. I have a photo on my Instagram, actually for one of my birthday posts of you, of Ian on the floor in sports science in his sleeping bag, and then me just doing like the worm, like the dance move on top of him. And the saddest thing is our teacher was like in there as well. Like,
it was during class time. It was during class time.
Oh man. What about you?
The other ones that I have are kind of like too serious.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have any other ones that you might want to talk about.
Okay, I'll say one more funny one, and then maybe we can get into the more serious ones.
Or we can do a serious one next episode.
Okay, yeah, we'll do serious
we'll
mistakes.
We'll cut it. Yeah, we'll cut it.
But the last funny one I have, this was actually only last year. I think it was like 2018 to 2019 New Year's, and I think maybe you must have been busy like that day or something, but Hong Kong is really close to another Chinese city called Shenzhen, and you can just take the train there, and it only takes like an hour and a half or something.
Oh, I didn't have my China card.
Oh, were you getting it like renewed or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So me and Michael and our other friend Nathaniel, who were back, decided that it would be fun to go in just for one day. And Michael had been to this area of Shenzhen before that has like a really, really good drinks deal. So we just went there in the morning, we got lunch, and then went to this bar and then hung out there for like 4 hours pretty much because they had really, really good deals. And we ended up getting like pretty sloshed, like pretty hammered. And it was so much fun. We were just like being like kind of loud,
obnoxious,
and like not super. Actually, yeah, we were being pretty obnoxious, but it was just like very wholesome, fun memories. And then we saw sundown too, which was really, really nice together. And then we were just like kind of like running around, and then we had to go back in order to like get home at a reasonable time. And so we had to like cross the border and everything. And it's just such a like sobering contrast when you have to go from like being with your friends at like a bar and stuff and hanging out, and then you have to go through like border control, you know what I mean? So we had to like get a taxi, go to the MTR, which is like our subway system, and then we had to go through customs and everything, and like have to like wait in line to go present our passport to someone and like put our thumbprints down.
Contrast of moods.
Yeah. And there were a lot of people going home as well back into Hong Kong, and so you were like in this like tight crowded space, and then we got through all of that, and then we got on the same train, and then it was really, really packed, so we were just sitting next to each other and just like completely silent for like 45 minutes because we were all still drunk, but like in this weird stage of being like sobered up too. And it was just like, why did we do it? Like, was it really worth it? I think it's kind of a similar context or like feeling to like the hangover feeling, you know, like was a really fun night, like even worth that, like all this like weird feelings.
I was contemplating whether I need to share this, but since you shared with us a little like day drinking story, I'll just share one of my stories from first year in university. So essentially we had this like workshop. I forgot what kind of workshop it was. I don't know if it's like leadership skills or it was a legal workshop. But essentially we had this like challenge between teams, and then our team like ended up winning. Yeah. And the prize was a bottle of Prosecco.
Yeah.
And this workshop ended at probably like 10 in the morning.
Okay.
And then after we won the bottle of Prosecco, everyone was like, yeah, Ian, just pop the bottle, pop the bottle. I was like, okay, sure. Yeah. Pop the bottle. Everyone's like happy. Everyone's like excited. Yeah. And then I look around and I was like, do you guys want any? And then like no. Maybe two of them were like, okay, I'll have a sip. They took 2 sips. And everyone's like, no, it's too early. And it was just me holding this open bottle of Prosecco. I'm like, I'm not going to carry this around. Yeah. So I decided to start drinking. Yeah. And then I had a tutorial right afterwards.
Oh, that's so good.
And I was just like under the table, and then she'd be saying something. I'll be like nodding my head. I'm like, yeah. And then I'd like sneak a sip. And then by the time I got home, it was like 11:30. And then I was like smashed out of my mind. I just like passed out in the common area.
Yeah.
I guess that was a pretty big mistake. I would not be doing that again, Mom or Dad.
That was a big mistake. I promise, Mom and Dad. You're lucky you didn't have any classes after that. Would you have drank the bottle if you had like modules or other classes like earlier in the day?
No way.
Ian is aggressively nodding his head right
Not
now.
a chance.
No, yeah. The thing, just like with day drinking, at least when you drink at night, you have like this like kind of like hard reset, right? Where you like go to sleep and then like your body deals with everything.
And it fits the mood of the nighttime.
Yeah, exactly. But then when you're like completely drunk at like 2 p.m. or something, and like the light is still out, and then you have to like worry about making yourself lunch or dinner and stuff. It's just like such a gross and groggy feeling.
You still have to do like normal chores and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that feeling because I went to Copenhagen with my cousin Ryan. Yeah. Shout out to Ryan. Last year, and then we went out, and then sun rises like pretty early in Copenhagen, probably like 3-4.
Yeah.
So then by the time we were done with our night out, people were still lining up at like 3-4, and the sun was out, and then I was just like,
that's such a
that
gross
must feel
feeling.
Like shit. Like people are still trying to get into clubs at 3-4 in the morning, and the sun's already out.
Yeah.
Like, you should be out and about, going in a park, maybe having like a drink with your friends, like not waiting up to get into a dark, grungy club. It just made me feel sick to the stomach.
Yeah.
But a lot of things that we drank also made me sick to the stomach.
Yeah.
But
that's so funny. Was it like a nice sunrise and stuff too?
Yeah, it was a nice sunrise.
That makes it worse.
My cousin and I were like walking back, and we were just like enjoying the sunrise.
Yeah.
And then we just see a bunch of kids just like still lining up. They weren't getting in like anytime soon.
Yeah. I feel like experiencing nice sunrises when you like haven't gone to bed or are still planning on not going to bed is like such
depressing.
a gross feeling. Yeah. I was just this past week actually I was FaceTiming one of my friends, Kate.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kate. Shout out to Kate. Kate, I hope you're listening to this. But she, because of the time zone and stuff, we were talking, and it was like 7 a.m. her time.
Yeah.
And Kate's sleep schedule is really messed up, so she hadn't gone to bed yet.
Yeah.
And I guess I just didn't fully realize like how late it was. And then she was in bed talking, and then I see over her shoulder like her blackout curtains, but then there's like light around it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Kate, oh no, like you really need to go to bed. She's like, yeah, I will. Like in a bit. Let's just like keep talking and stuff. And then I was like, okay, it looks really bright though. And she's like, yeah, do you want to see how bright it is? And then she pulls back the curtains, she goes over, and it's like a beautiful sunrise and stuff. And like just over her backyard in like the Chicagoland area. And there you can hear like birds chirping and stuff.
It's so depressing. It just reminds me of like chasing deadlines.
I know. And I was making dinner at the time too. So it was just like, I felt sick in my stomach for her. It was such a bad feeling.
Okay, so we're just gonna end it there. I'm sure we have plenty of things that we want to share, but we're gonna leave that for another. For another.
We'll do
episode.
serious mistakes for a part 2.
For a part 2. Well, just to end it, follow us on Instagram at PitcherPod. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Just to remind you guys, we're going to be giving shout outs to everyone who rates and reviews us on Apple Podcasts, because we know how much you want these shout outs, guys. So please give us a review.
Shout out again to Delia and Rooksy, our biggest fans. Thank you.
Ian and Cody as well.
Ian and I reviewed our own podcast as well.
No, we didn't.
Oh, sorry. No, we didn't.
Subscribe and check us out on YouTube, Spotify as well. And also email and DM us at pitcherpod@gmail.com with thoughts or suggestions.
Okay, very nice.
And we'll grab a picture with you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.